The chamber of the Galactic Council was silent, yet heavy with tension. Thousands of alien voices had spoken, and now only one message echoed across the stars. Earth must be banished. The words came from a being with silver skin and glowing eyes, a leader of one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. Its voice was calm, but its tone carried judgment, like a hammer falling. Around the chamber, other alien rulers nodded in agreement. They were tall, strange, and ancient. Some had wings folded against their backs. Some had eyes that never blinked. Others had no face at all, only shifting masks of light. But all of them shared one thought. Humanity was a threat. The accusations began. A scale creature hissed, its long tail curling. Humans fight too much. Their wars are endless. They cannot be trusted with peace. Another, a shadowy being whose body was half smoke, added coldly, their hunger never ends. One planet, one system, it is never enough. They spread too fast. If we let them grow, soon they will reach us all. One after another, voices rose. They are dangerous. They are violent. They must be removed before they destroy the balance. At the center of the chamber, a massive star map appeared. Glowing points showed the known galaxy. Around Earth's small blue star, human colonies stretched outward like spreading fire. To many, it looked like a warning. To others, it looked like a promise of survival. The council did not care which it was. The decision was already made. The oldest of the alien leaders, a giant with skin like stone and eyes that burned like suns, rose slowly. Its voice was deep, ancient, and final. Earth is hereby banished from the galaxy. Their colonies will be cut off, their fleets forbidden, their presence erased. The chamber shook with the sound of agreement. Thunderous voices echoed. For the first time in history, every empire, every species, every power in the council agreed on one thing. Humanity had no place among the stars. And yet, something was wrong. The humans did not answer. In the center of the chamber, where the accused should have stood, there was only silence. Only one human had been allowed to stand before the council. A single representative, dressed not in armor, but in a simple dark suit. No weapons, no soldiers, no guards. Just one man, standing alone against the galaxy. He did not bow. He did not speak. He only looked around the chamber, his eyes calm, his face unreadable. The aliens grew restless. "Why does he not beg?" hissed the scale creature. "Why does he not defend his people?" whispered the shadow being. The silence was more unsettling than any protest. The council had expected cries, arguments, even threats. But not this, not the stillness of a human who did not look afraid. The stone-skinned leader leaned forward. Its voice rumbled like a storm. "Do you not hear us, child of Earth? Your world is banished. Your race cast aside. Do you not understand what this means?" The human finally raised his head. His eyes were sharp, like steel in the dark. He spoke, but his voice was soft, almost too quiet for the vast chamber. And yet, every species heard it clearly. "We hear you." The words were simple, but they carried weight. Every alien turned toward him, waiting for more. They expected fear. They expected him to plead for mercy, to promise obedience. Instead, he remained still. His gaze swept across the chamber, from the smallest insect creature to the towering stone giant. And then he asked a single question. "Are you certain?" The chamber froze. The council had seen empires beg. They had seen rulers cry, armies surrender, worlds fall to their knees. But never had anyone asked that. The words were not a threat. They were not defiance. They were worse. They were a reminder that humanity was not like the others. The silence stretched. Even the glowing star map seemed to dim. Whispers broke out among the aliens. "What does he mean? Is it a bluff? They cannot stand against us all." The human did not explain. He did not shout. He did not strike the table or call for war. He simply stood there, calm and quiet, as if the galaxy's greatest powers had just made the biggest mistake in history. At last, the council leader slammed its fist against the platform. The chamber shook. "Enough. The decision is final. Earth is banished." The alien voices roared again. The chamber filled with sound, with judgment, with pride. But beneath the noise, one thought began to spread. Silent, unspoken, but heavy in every mind. Why had the human not argued? Why had he only asked that one question? And what, in the name of the stars, could he possibly mean by it? The council had cast its verdict. Humanity had been banished. But in the shadows of that chamber, doubt had already begun. And soon the galaxy would learn the answer. The roar of the council still echoed through the vast chamber, a storm of alien voices, each trying to shout louder than the other. But slowly, the sound faded. The council expected the human to collapse, to argue, to scream. Instead, the man from Earth remained standing. His posture did not bend, his face did not change. Calm, unshaken. It was as if he had been waiting for this moment. Finally, when the voices fell silent, he spoke. His words were soft, but clear. The kind of voice that forced every listener to lean closer, afraid to miss a single syllable. "If you fear us," the human said, "then you do not know us." The chamber went still. It was not what the aliens had expected. Not denial, not anger, not surrender. The words lingered in the air, heavy and strange, like a shadow that refused to vanish. One of the winged delegates scoffed, its feathers rattling with irritation. "We know enough. We see your history. War upon war, blood upon blood. Your species has spilled more of its own than any we have ever known." The human's eyes turned toward the creature, steady and cold. "Yes," he admitted. "We have fought. We have bled. We have destroyed. But you mistake scars for weakness. You mistake survival for threat." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The shadow being with smoke for a body hissed, its voice sharp as a blade. "Survival? You call the fire you spread survival? Your colonies grow without end. You devour worlds as if the stars were made only for you." The human ambassador did not flinch. Instead, he began to walk slowly across the circular platform, his footsteps echoing like drums in the silence. His eyes swept across the crowd, alien faces shifting nervously as he passed. "You see our spread," he said, "but do you know our journey?" No one answered. The man continued. "We were born on a world that tried to kill us. Ice ages froze us. Plagues cut us down. Storms and famine starved us. Yet we lived. We were prey once, hunted by beasts stronger than us, faster than us. Still, we endured. We built fire. We built shelter. We learned." His voice grew stronger, not louder, but sharper, like steel. "We crossed oceans in wooden ships. We flew the skies in fragile wings. We walked on a moon of dust, though it was never meant for us. Every step, every struggle, every scar has made us what we are." The chamber was silent now. Even the great stone-skinned leader who had passed the verdict leaned forward, as if pulled by the weight of the words. The human stopped walking. He stood still in the very center of the council chamber, under the glowing star map. A single figure, small compared to the titans around him, yet somehow larger in presence than them all. "Do not think we are dangerous because we fight," he said. "Know that we fight because we must. We do not seek war, but when war comes, we endure it. We do not seek conquest, but when worlds fall, we rise again. That is who we are." The scale creature hissed in frustration. "And what is your point, human? Do you think your history excuses your crimes? Do you think your suffering makes you noble?" The man shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "It makes us unstoppable." The words cut through the chamber like a blade of fire. Gasps rose. Murmurs filled the air once more. Some laughed bitterly, calling it arrogance. Others frowned, unease growing in their hearts. But the human was not finished. He lifted his gaze to the towering leaders above him, his expression calm, almost sorrowful. "Banishing us will not save you. We do not end. We adapt. If you close one door, we break another open. If you burn one home, we build 1,000 more. If you push us into the dark, we will light it with fire until we find our way again." His voice dropped, quiet but sharp, so that every word seemed to pierce straight into the minds of those who listened. "So I ask you again, are you sure you want us gone?" The question hung heavy in the air, more powerful than a threat, more dangerous than any weapon, because it was not just a question. It was a warning. The winged creature tried to laugh, but its voice cracked. The shadow being shifted uneasily, its form breaking apart like smoke in a storm. Even the great stone-skinned leader said nothing. For the first time, doubt crept into the hearts of the council. They had seen humanity as reckless, wild, uncontrollable. But now, faced with one man's calm defiance, they realized something far more frightening. Humans did not need to shout. They did not need to beg. They did not even need to fight. All they needed to do was remind the galaxy of what they were. Survivors. The human ambassador's eyes swept the chamber one last time. His face showed no fear, no pride, no anger, only certainty. And though he stood alone, his voice carried the weight of billions. Remember this. You can cast us out. You can call us banished. But when the time comes, you will remember what humanity truly is. The silence that followed was heavier than any sound. The council had made its decision. Earth was banished. But as the humans' words lingered in the chamber, many began to wonder. Had they just sealed humanity's doom? Or had they awakened something the galaxy would soon regret? The human ambassador's words still lingered in the air when the council session ended. The verdict was sealed. Earth was banished. Yet the alien leaders left the chamber unsettled. They had expected fear. They had expected pleading. Instead, they saw calm defiance. And deep inside, each alien ruler carried the same uneasy thought. Why did the human ask if we were certain? Far away, across the silent void of space, Earth did not sleep. Above the blue planet, ships moved like shadows against the stars. At first glance, they looked like ordinary fleets. Scouts, cargo haulers, defense patrols. But hidden beneath their hulls, inside their dark cores, was power the galaxy had never seen. These ships were not built for show. They were not built for parades. They were born in secret, forged in silence, and tested in places no other race dared to go. Quantum engines pulsed softly, bending space as easily as a hand bends paper. Gravity wells coiled within them, controlled and caged. Entire star systems could not match the energy one of these vessels carried. And there were not just one or two. There were hundreds, thousands, waiting, watching, ready. On Mars, buried deep beneath the red sands, an entire city thrived. Not a city of stone or metal, but of glass and light, powered by cores that glowed brighter than the sun. Artificial minds walked beside humans, not as masters, not as servants, but as partners. Together, they designed weapons that were not weapons, tools that could shift stars, machines that could bend reality in small, careful ways. If the galaxy thought humanity was primitive, they were wrong. Humanity had learned to hide its true hand. For every colony the aliens saw, 10 more lay hidden in dark corners of space. For every fleet on record, 5 more drifted unseen, cloaked in silence. For every human world known to the Council, there were secret outposts on moons, asteroids, and even artificial habitats floating between stars. The galaxy had looked at Earth's history and seen chaos, but they had not seen the pattern hidden inside it. Humans had always prepared. In one hidden station, orbiting a dying star, a commander stood before a massive window. Below, the star burned dim, its surface cracking like old stone. But within it, human machines had carved paths into its very core. They were studying it, harnessing it. The commander spoke softly into the air, his voice carried through encrypted channels only humanity could hear. The Council has spoken. They think we are weak. They think we will accept banishment. Around him, officers listened in silence. Their uniforms bore no medals, no colors, only the symbol of Earth, a circle with a single line, fragile, simple, but endless. Let them think it, the commander continued. Let them believe we are cornered. They will not see us coming when the time arrives. No one cheered. No one smiled. Humanity did not need noise. They needed patience. Back in the great halls of alien power, rumors began to spread. A merchant ship swore it had seen a human fleet vanish into nothingness. No jump, no warp, just gone. A scout reported a colony destroyed. But when they returned days later, it was still there, untouched, as if time itself had been rewritten. The Council dismissed these as lies, exaggerations, tricks. But doubt grew. What if humanity was hiding more than it showed? What if the calm words of their ambassador were not arrogance, but truth? One empire decided to test it. The Xerics, a race of insectoid warriors, hated humanity the most. To them, humans were parasites, spreading across the stars like disease. Without permission from the Council, they sent a fleet of warships to a small human colony near the edge of space. It was a young settlement, only a few thousand people. Easy prey. The Xerics expected screams. They expected fire. They expected to teach humanity fear. But what they found changed everything. As their weapons charged, the human colony did not panic. Shields shimmered around the settlement, shields stronger than anything the Xerics had ever seen. Missiles, beams, plasma, all of it crashed against an invisible wall of light and broke apart. The Xerics tried again, harder, faster, louder, but nothing worked. And then, in a single flash, their fleet was gone. Not destroyed, gone. The stars were empty. Silence filled the void. Hours later, their ships reappeared in their own home system, drifting, powerless, as if some unseen hand had picked them up and placed them back where they came from. Not a single human had fired a shot. The message was clear. Humanity did not need to fight to win. Back in the Council, fear grew. If humans could move fleets without a trace, if they could defend colonies against entire armadas, what else were they hiding? The human ambassador never spoke of it. He never bragged. He never explained. That silence was more terrifying than any weapon, because the galaxy finally realized something. They had no idea what humanity was truly capable of. And the worst part? Humanity wanted it that way. The sky erupted with fire. The alien fleet moved first, dozens of jagged ships breaking formation and diving toward the human warship. Their weapons lit up the heavens with green and red beams, tearing through the thin clouds. The air shook with their power, and the colonists on the ground could only watch in awe and terror. Sol's wrath did not retreat. The massive Terran warship turned its prow toward the enemy, shields glowing bright blue as alien blasts rained down. On the bridge, the crew worked with cold precision, their hands moving across glowing consoles. Warnings blared. Lights flashed, but no one faltered. Shields at 80%, an officer shouted. Return fire, the captain ordered, his voice calm. The warship roared. Its cannons unleashed beams of white-hot energy, slicing through the void. The first alien ship exploded instantly, a flower of fire blooming in the black sky. The colonists cheered from below, their fear giving way to wild hope. But the aliens were many, and they adapted quickly. They swarmed around the warship, their smaller, faster craft darting like predators around a giant. Beams struck Solzra from every side, hammering its shields. Inside the bridge, the ship shook violently. Sparks rained from the ceiling. Shields down to 65%, another officer cried. The captain gritted his teeth. Hold steady. Focus fire. Make every shot count. On the ground, Kira watched with her people. She clenched her fists as the warship fought, her heart pounding. Around her, children pointed at the sky, shouting with excitement and fear. Old Rummy whispered, "Fight! Fight for us!" Above them, the battle grew fiercer. Solzra fired again and again. Each blast tore apart an enemy vessel, scattering debris across the stars. But for every alien ship destroyed, two more pressed in closer. The aliens launched smaller craft, needle-like fighters that streaked toward the colony itself. Sirens wailed through the settlement. People ran for cover. The colony's defense lasers, long unused and half-broken, sputtered to life. They fired weak beams at the incoming fighters, destroying a few but missing many. The rest dove lower, strafing the colony's outskirts with deadly fire. Buildings crumbled. The ground shook. Smoke and screams filled the air. Kira grabbed a young boy, pulling him into cover as a beam tore through the street. "Stay low," she shouted. Around her, desperate colonists fired old rifles into the sky. The bullets bounced harmlessly against alien hulls. From above, Solzroth responded. Its guns swiveled downward, blasting the alien fighters with deadly precision. Explosions lit the skies as a human warship shielded the colony below, protecting it even as its own shields weakened. On the bridge, alarm screamed. Shields down to 30%. "We can't take this much longer." The captain's eyes burned with determination. "We will not fall. Redirect power to forward batteries. Break their line. The warship surged forward, engines blazing, straight into the heart of the alien fleet. Its cannons fired in rapid succession, tearing a path through the enemy formation. Alien ships exploded one after another, their wreckage scattering like burning meteors. The colonists below erupted in cheers. They saw it clearly now. Humanity was not weak, not broken. Humanity was fire. Humanity was steel. But the battle was far from won. The alien flagship loomed ahead, massive and bristling with weapons. Its hull glowed with a strange, living light. The alien commander within roared in fury, his ember eyes flashing. "Crush them," he thundered. "Tear that ship apart." The flagship unleashed a storm of firepower. Beams of sickly green energy hammered into Sol's wrath. The Terran warship shuddered, its shields flickering and then collapsing. "Shields are down," an officer cried. "Evasive maneuvers," the captain barked. The warship twisted through space, but it was too large to avoid everything. Alien fire tore across its hull, ripping deep scars into the steel. Explosions shook the corridors. Crew members were thrown from their stations. On the ground, the colonists gasped in horror as flames burst from the side of their protector. For a moment, fear returned. Would the warship fall? Would they be left to die after all? But then, through the smoke and chaos, Sol's wrath struck back. Its main cannon charged, glowing brighter and brighter until it was a blinding star in the sky. The captain raised his hand. "Fire!" A beam of pure light erupted, slicing through the void. It struck the alien flagship, tearing across its side. Metal screamed. Fire erupted. The massive vessel staggered, listing as flames poured from its hull. The colonists roared in triumph. Even Merrick, once ready to surrender, shouted with joy. They can bleed. They can be beaten. But the victory came at a cost. On the bridge, warning lights flared red. Weapons overheating. Hull breach on Deck 7. Engines at half power. The captain steadied himself, his eyes fixed on the burning alien flagship. "We're not done yet." Above, the battle raged on. The Terran warship, scarred and battered, held its ground against impossible odds. The colonists below clung to hope, their eyes shining with pride. For the first time in their lives, they believed humanity had not abandoned them. Humanity had returned, and even against a fleet of monsters, humanity would fight. But the aliens were far from defeated. Their flagship still burned, but it was not destroyed. Their forces regrouped, circling for another strike. The war was only beginning. The colony's skies burned with battle. Above, Sol's wrath fought like a wounded lion, its massive guns firing into the alien swarm. Each blast shook the heavens. Each explosion lit up the night. But the cost was heavy. Fire spread along its hull. Its shields were gone. Its engines faltered. On the ground, the colonists watched with pounding hearts. Fear clawed at them. If the warship fell, they would all be lost. Yet even in their fear, a fire had awoken inside them. For generations, they had believed they were forgotten, abandoned by Earth. But now, as they saw the Terran warship bleeding for them, they realized the truth. Humanity had never abandoned them. And if the warship was willing to fight, then so were they. Kira stood in the central square, her voice rising above the noise. "Are we going to hide like cowards while they fight for us?" she shouted. "No, we fight with them. We fight for our children, for our future, for humanity." Her words cut through despair like a blade. Men and women looked at each other, and one by one, they nodded. Farmers, miners, mechanics, people who had never held a soldier's rifle now clenched their fists with determination. Old Rummy spoke into the radio, his voice strong despite his trembling hands. "Sol's wrath, this is Colony E-47. We are with you. Tell us how to help." On the bridge of the warship, the captain heard the message. A faint smile touched his lips. "Patch them in," he said. The colony's old mining ships were holed out of storage. Rusted and worn, they had been used for digging through stone and hauling ore. Now, they were armed with whatever the colonists could find. Explosives, fuel cells, even sharpened steel plates welded into makeshift rams. The people climbed aboard with shaking hands but steady hearts. Fathers kissed their children goodbye. Mothers strapped themselves into cockpits, eyes filled with fire. Above, The alien fleet reformed, circling like wolves around the wounded Terran warship. The alien commander sneered, his ember eyes glowing with cruel delight. "One ship cannot stop the Empire," he growled. But he was wrong. It was not one ship in them all. With a roar of ancient engines, the colony's ragged mining craft lifted into the sky. Dozens of small, clumsy vessels rose to meet the alien swarm. Their hulls shook, their weapons were weak, but their pilots were filled with something the aliens did not expect: human courage. The alien fighters dived to intercept. Beams of green light tore through the air. One mining craft exploded in a burst of fire, its pilot giving his life before even reaching the enemy. But the others pressed on, shouting war cries through crackling radios. For the colony. For humanity. The colonists rammed their ships into alien vessels, detonating explosives at point-blank range. One by one, alien fighters fell from the sky, their burning wrecks scattering across the plains. The captain of Solzroth watched, pride burning in his chest. "They fight like Terrans," he whispered. On the ground, cheers rose as the colonists struck blow after blow. Children clung to their mothers, watching their fathers become heroes among the stars. Even Merrick, once the loudest voice for surrender, stood in awe. His eyes shone with tears as he whispered, "We are not weak. We were never weak." But the aliens did not give up. They turned their fury on the colonists' makeshift fleet, cutting down ships with ruthless fire. For every alien destroyed, 2 colonists were lost. The sky became a graveyard of burning wreckage. Kira's voice rang over the comms. "Hold the line. Every second we fight is a second Solzroth can strike." And strike it did. With the enemy distracted, the Terran warship powered up its heavy batteries. Massive cannons fired, blasting through the alien ranks. Ship after ship exploded, torn apart by the warship's wrath. The battle turned. The colonists and the Terran warship fought as one, united in blood and fire. For the first time, the aliens hesitated. Their commander snarled, fury burning in his ember eyes. "These humans," he growled, "they are not prey. They are plague." He raised his clawed hand and gave the order, "Bring the dreadnought." From the depths of space, a new shadow emerged, larger than all the others. The alien dreadnought moved forward, its monstrous bulk blocking out the stars. Its weapons glowed with terrible power. The colonists gasped in horror. Even Solzroth, mighty as it was, seemed small before the dreadnought's size. The captain's jaw tightened. His warship was damaged, his shields gone, his crew exhausted. And now they faced a giant. Still, he stood tall. His voice rang across the comms, reaching colonists and soldiers alike. "Listen to me. We are Terrans. We do not kneel. We do not surrender. And we do not abandon our own. Together, we will bring this monster down." The colonists roared their answer. Together! The skies burned brighter. The final battle was coming. The alien dreadnought slid into view like a nightmare given shape. It dwarfed every ship in the sky, even Solzroth. Its hull was a mountain of black metal, glowing with rivers of sickly green light. Rows upon rows of weapons bristled along its sides, each one capable of reducing cities to ash. As it moved forward, the stars themselves seemed to vanish behind its bulk. The colonists watching from the ground fell silent. For a moment, hope faltered. If Solzroth had struggled against the smaller fleet, how could it survive this? On the bridge of the Terran warship, the crew stared at the massive vessel. Warning lights flashed across their consoles. Damage reports scrolled endlessly. Their ship was battered, scarred, and bleeding, but their captain stood tall. His voice cut through the fear like steel. "We've faced giants before," he said, "and we broke them. This one will fall the same way. Humanity does not bow." The crew answered as one, "Aye, Captain." The dreadnought fired first. A beam of green energy, wide as a river, streaked through the void and slammed into Solzroth. The Terran warship shuddered violently. Hull plates tore loose. Fires raged through its corridors. Crew members were thrown to the ground. "Deck 12 is gone," an officer shouted. "We've lost the port engines," another cried. Still, the warship held. Its cannons lit up the void, unleashing a storm of fire. Explosions blossomed across the dreadnought's hull, but the giant barely flinched. Its shields rippled, absorbing the blasts. On the ground, Kira shouted into her colony fighters, "With me, we'll cover their flanks." The ragged mining craft turned toward the dreadnought, engines screaming. They were hopelessly outgunned, but they did not hesitate. They fired their makeshift weapons, diving at the giant like hornets stinging a beast. One colonist ship, loaded with explosives, rammed into the dreadnought's side. A fireball erupted, tearing a hole in its outer plating. The pilot's name was lost in the flames, but his sacrifice gave the others a chance. The colonists cheered. Even the ground shook with their cries, "Fight! Fight!" The alien commander snarled from his throne inside the dreadnought. His ember eyes blazed. "They dare wound us? Then let them be crushed." The dreadnought unleashed a barrage. Green fire streaked across the skies, cutting through the colonist fleet. One by one, their fragile ships exploded. Brave men and women gave their lives in burning streaks of light, but they did not retreat. Inside Solzroth, the captain made his choice. His voice was grim but steady. "All power to the main cannon. Prepare for final strike." His crew hesitated. "Captain, if we do that, the ship—" "I know," he cut in. "This is our only chance. Humanity's chance." The warship charged its weapon. The cannon's core glowed brighter and brighter, a blinding white light building at its heart. The entire ship trembled under the strain. The colonists saw the glow and understood. Tears filled their eyes as they realized what was happening. "They are going to sacrifice themselves," Rummy whispered, his old hands shaking. Kira clenched her fists, shouting through the comm, "Then we will fight with them. Every second counts. Buy them time." The colonists hurled themselves at the dreadnought. Damaged ships rammed into its turrets. Explosives detonated against its armor. Each sacrifice slowed the beast, even as the colonists fell one after another. Solzroth pushed forward, engines screaming, dragging its broken body toward the dreadnought. The alien commander laughed, his voice like thunder. "Fools, your light cannot pierce the Empire." The captain of Solzroth glared at the burning giant before him. His voice was a whisper, yet it carried strength. "Watch us." He raised his hand. "Fire." The warship unleashed its final strike. A beam of pure white energy erupted, brighter than the sun. It tore through the void, slamming into the dreadnought with unstoppable force. Shields shattered. Armor split. The giant screamed as explosions ripped across its body. The dreadnought convulsed, fire bursting from its core. Then, with a sound like the breaking of worlds, it exploded in a blinding storm of light. The colonists shielded their eyes as the sky turned white. The ground shook with the force of the blast. And then, silence. When the light faded, the dreadnought was gone. Only burning wreckage drifted in the void. The alien fleet, stunned, broke. The surviving ships turned and fled, scattering into the darkness. The colonists erupted into cheers and tears. They hugged each other, sobbing with joy. Children shouted the name of the warship. Even Merrick wept openly, his voice cracking. "We are free. We are free." But in the sky, Solzroth hung silent. Its engines were dark. Its hull burned. The mighty warship floated, scarred and broken, drifting among the stars. On the bridge, the captain leaned heavily against his chair, smoke filling the air around him. His eyes were tired, but his voice was steady. "Signal the colony," he said. "Tell them humanity stands with them." Then he closed his eyes as the warship drifted slowly toward the planet below. The battle was won, but the cost was heavy. The skies above Colony E-47 were quiet at last. Where once green fire and burning wreckage had filled the heavens, now only drifting debris remained. The alien dreadnought was gone, shattered by the sacrifice of Solzroth. The survivors of the alien fleet had fled into the void, leaving the colony scarred but alive. On the ground, the colonists gathered in silence. Their cheers had faded, replaced now by awe and grief. Their eyes were fixed on the broken warship drifting in orbit, its once bright hull now dark, its mighty engine cold. Kira stood at the center of the square, her heart heavy. "They saved us," she whispered, her voice trembling. "They gave everything." Old Rummy placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice, rough with emotion, carried to the crowd. "No, they did more than save us. They reminded us who we are. For too long, The colony had lived in despair, believing Earth had abandoned them, believing themselves forgotten and weak. But the Terran warship had come, not as conquerors, not as ghosts, but as kin. They had fought, bled, and died for their people. And in doing so, they had lit a fire in the colonists' hearts. Marek, once the loudest voice for surrender, stood with tears on his face. "We were ready to kneel," he said, his voice cracking. "But they showed us humanity never kneels." The colonists bowed their heads together. For a long moment, the only sound was the wind. Then a spark of static cut through the air. A radio crackled. "Colony E-47, this is Sol's Wrath. Do you read?" Gasps filled the square. People shouted, eyes wide with hope. Kira grabbed the transmitter with shaking hands. "Sol's Wrath, we hear you. You're alive." The captain's voice came through, faint but steady. "Alive? For now. We lost many. The ship won't hold much longer. But listen to me carefully. We've sent a signal back to Earth. Reinforcements are coming." The colonists froze. The words hung heavy in the air. "Back to Earth. Reinforcements." Kira's lips trembled. "You mean humanity knows we're here?" The captain's voice carried strength, even through the crackle. "Humanity has always known. You were never abandoned. We couldn't reach you before, but we never forgot." Tears flowed freely across the square. Generations of bitterness, of despair, of feeling lost, all melted away in that single moment. They were not forgotten. They were part of something greater. The voice continued, "Weaker now. Our ship may not survive descent. But it doesn't matter. What matters is you live. Build. Endure. And when Earth arrives, you will stand as proof of what it means to be human." The transmission ended. The calm fell silent once more. The colonists looked to the sky. Flames trailed from the broken warship as it began to descend, pulled by the planet's gravity. It was falling, its last journey. Kira wiped her tears and raised her fist high. Her voice rang out across the colony, filled with pride. "They gave their lives so we could rise. We will not waste their sacrifice. We will rebuild stronger. We will fight, if the enemy ever returns. And when Earth comes, we will stand tall as part of humanity once more." The colonists roared in answer, their voices shaking the very air. "For humanity!" The warship blazed across the sky, a burning star falling to the Earth. When it struck the plains beyond the colony, the ground shook, and a column of smoke rose high into the heavens. But to the colonists, it was not the death of a ship. It was a symbol, a beacon, a reminder. The next days were filled with work. The survivors salvaged wreckage, gathering supplies, repairing homes, burying the dead. They carried the names of the fallen with honor. Every child learned the story of the warship that came from the void. Kira walked among them, helping where she could, her eyes always lifted to the sky. In the stars, she did not see emptiness anymore. She saw promise. She saw Earth. And far above, in the darkness, other human ships were already moving. The signal had been received. Earth's fleet stirred, answering the call. The galaxy had learned that humanity was not gone, not weak, not broken. They were here. They were rising. And the day would come when even the stars would remember. Humanity does not abandon its own. Humanity fights. Humanity endures. Humanity wins.